Hey everyone, Max at 343 Labs here. We're a music production school based in New York City, Berlin, and online. And today I'd like to show you a clip by one of our instructors, the one and only John Selway, which is taken from his weekly stream, which airs right here on our channel. Now, if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification below. Let's get into it.
Let's look at it a little bit more closely. So, I mean, this is just from default. Actually, let's load up another one so I don't mess up the sound that I've been working on. But, you know, when you first load it up, it's empty. It's a bit daunting, right? Like if you load up Phase Plant, you've got generators, that's what they call it, modules. In Pigments, it has engines, right? It has two engines, and each engine can be different types of synthesizers, whether it's analog subtractive, or it's wavetable, or it's a sampler / granular synth, or the harmonic additive engine that it has. Phase Plant, though, you open it up and it's just empty, right? So, now of course there's presets, lots and lots of good presets. But yeah, when you first load it up, there's nothing there. So I feel like if you're a beginner, that might be a little bit daunting, but it's pretty cool. And you know, you hover over one of these sections, generators, that's going to make sound or control the amplitude of sound, say like at the output with an envelope. You've also got some effects in there. And then we have our modulators on the bottom. Shape, and I like the way they have it organized. Once you get in there and look at it, you're like, oh, all right, shapes, that makes sense. Envelopes and LFOs are the shapes, main shapes, things that we use to shape the sound, right? MIDI expression inputs, has an audio follower. There's a lot of really good utility in here, right? And then we have 3 lanes of effects. So you can do, and that's another really big part of Phase Plant's overall thing, is just, you could just go crazy with effects. And of course, everything can be modulated, right? So yeah, but like I said, you know, I haven't used it that much. But if I wanted to make a sound, I'd say, all right, I want to do an analog bass or something, or load up a sample, or do a wavetable thing. You load up a generator. Right, and you know, as soon as you load up a generator, it gives you an amp envelope for that. And then you kind of have to think kind of like in modular synthesis, you got to think about signal flow in order to get things going. Like there's no filter here. I don't want to turn this into a whole lesson on how to use Phase Plant. There's plenty of other videos out there that'll do a more comprehensive job of that. The way I usually learn about using new instruments is just to start making music with them and not get too into like, I'll just figure out things as I go. All right, so that's Phase Plant. And I'm investigating the granular. New granular element here. God, why keep the generator, the granular generator. Let's hear what I've got. And, you know, literally I just dragged in semi-random a sample. Actually, let's hear what the sample sounds like. Let's see if I can find that again. It's called Droplets. Something from some folder here. There it is. I'm not sure that you hear that. Let's make sure you've got the cue out set up so that you can hear that. And I'm going to turn up my volume a little bit so I can hear what I'm doing. Right, so I thought that was kind of cool. Usually for granular synthesis, hey, enough. Usually for granular synthesis, you want to have a sound that has some variation in tone. So this has got this nice kind of clean, percussive note, but then it also has some noise and reverb in it. And it also has a bit of a pitch modulation. It's got that whoop kind of drop effect. So even in a short sound like that, there's a lot of variation in the granular engine to be subtle and to find little tiny changes to work with. All right, so that's where I started. And then I was thinking, you know, I wanted something kind of techno chord stabs, right? put in a minor third, and then, you know, you can hear there's a syncopated rhythm in there already, but that's actually all coming from, most of that is coming from the granular engine. Let me just actually change this. It's to its, you know, normally you're using granular, you're hearing stuff like this, right? You're hearing these little grains repeating. Right, that's very granular, right? I like that. I like how this interface looks. I like how the grains look. They did a good job animating what's happening to the grains. It's not just showing you where and when the grains are, but it's showing you like the shape and amplitude and other things. It's pretty cool. Yeah, good job on the interface. Definitely, yeah. Future World Machine says nifty graphics. Okay. So that's something. You have the grain envelope here. Like each grain that we're hearing that's repeating has a length and a shape, and that's what's determined here by this milliseconds next to grain envelope. So I'm now making them shorter. It's more percussive. You can have more sustain. Actually, I have it sort of set up now like an attack, hold, decay. And I have a little bit of a longer attack, so it doesn't. You can hear when it's noisier, when it's the attack is at 0. We're hearing that artifact being created by the amplitude going from 0 to full suddenly. So I'm smoothing it out a little bit so it doesn't click each time. Although you might want that sometimes. All right. There's a little bit of pitch modulation, which sort of, you know, every time a grain plays, it's just randomly modulating the pitch up and down a little bit. And this is all basic granular stuff that you'd see on any granular synthesizer, granular engine. There's also random panning. Right now I just put it to 0, everything's in the middle. But as I increase that panning amount, you'll start hearing those grains bounce around left to right. And then also, as I'm moving the grain position around, so you hear different parts of that sample. There's a little blip at the beginning. That's crazy. Like there's a lot you can do just with this one little sound, right? Just moving it around. It's almost like 3 or 4 different sounds within that one sample. And the grains are all starting from the position and then randomly playing later from there. If I randomize the position, you'll start to hear a mix of different sections, different grains from different sections, all right? So again, this is all like pretty basic granular stuff that most granular synths can do. All right. So, and this, I was very happy to see that in addition to this, the typical kind of randomizing, not randomizing, but doing grains sort of in hertz, but like in very small amounts, you can also do note length values and time, like have synchronized grains. So I'm using it to do kind of a chopped up thing. And I've done this in Pigments before. So that's giving me kind of an echo-like effect. Sean Otson is asking if that is able to be automated by an LFO. And yeah, everything in this synth can be, almost everything can be modulated. I'm assuming, were you asking, Sean, about the grain position? The grain position can definitely be automated or modulated. So if I wanted to do that, I could take an LFO. All right. And I'm going to turn off the note trigger so that it goes continuously. It's not syncing every time I play a MIDI note. Let's slow that down a lot. And then let's click on that orange plus there, and then click the plus on the position. And then increase the amount of modulation. And yes, you can absolutely modulate the position of that with the LFO. Let's move that back a little bit. I like this interface for setting the range of modulation coming out of the LFO. It's doing unipolar now. It's starting at 0 and going positive and then going back to 0. And that works really well in this situation because it's 0 is the start point. And so then you can easily set the range going from 0 to as far as you want it to go. Let's get a beat on this. Oh, I think we're soloed. Yep. There we go. All right, so I like this. I'm going to ease up on that automation, that modulation of the position a little bit. I want to keep it more tonal, a little less noisy right now. Nice to have a little bit of it coming in though. If I wanted these to be a little fuller, I can increase the length of the amplitude, of the peak of that grain envelope. I could also increase the length of the decay. If I increase the randomness of the position, it's almost a little bit too much noise right now. Let's dial back that modulation a little bit more. So another thing that can happen, and this is also similar to what I like about Pigment's granular engine and actually all the pitch modulation in Pigments is that you can quantize it. They do it to a scale, right? And here you can, when you modulate the pitch of the grains, you can quantize the grains to a chord. So it's a little bit different. So I've got that on. And right now the range is at 0, so we're not hearing it. Let's increase the range and hear what happens. Ooh. Just with that one thing, that's like a new section in my track. Because it starts like this. I've got the tone changing because the position's modulating a little bit or randomizing a little bit. Let's say I wanted this to be more percussive. Let's see, I'm going to have a shorter decay. All right. Now, and then I bring that range amount up. I'm good with that. So right now it's just jumping up octaves, I believe, but it's all staying in a chord, in a major chord. And I don't know what key I'm in. I don't know what note that sample is. I don't know if this is C or what. I'm just following my ears. Let's throw in a hi-hat. So I find that, using the grain engine like this, it depends on the sample, sort of how loud it can get, but generally we're only hearing a couple of grains at a time. We're not hearing like a lot of grains stacked on top of each other. And it's usually the case with granular synthesis that it'll kind of be soft, and then you add lots of grains and it gets very loud, right? So in this case, it's kind of soft because we're only hearing a couple of grains that are kind of cycling around at these that are synced to 3/16 or 3/16 notes, right? So I've got I wanted it to sound a little louder and a little brighter, so I've got a distortion on there, and that's actually how loud it is without just coming straight out of the granular. Let's turn that up a little bit. Yeah, and I think they have the gain set low on purpose because lots of grains start to get loud. All right, so just using some distortion to punch that up a little bit, and then some compressor to kind of get it popping a little bit. Hopefully the volume is okay out there for you guys. You can hear me all right. Bring down that volume just a little bit. Let's play around with the oh, whoa. Yeah, you can hear when it, sometimes when the position goes to the very beginning with a little water droplet pitch modulation, it gets a little bit intense. And that's one of the reasons I have that compressor on there with a pretty fast attack. It's set to peak compression. So I want to kind of grab that. There's a limiter, because it does get a little too sharp sometimes. Gets pretty intense. And I bring the the grain envelope longer. Speaking of release, you can hear when I let go, when I stop, there's a long release on the amp envelope. And if I just, what's happening is when I'm playing those different chord notes and they're overlapping. So it's adding extra layers. If I bring the release down, now you're not hearing the overlapping as much between the different chords that I'm playing. But if I increase the release again, it gets more complex. The lower notes and the higher notes are all kind of overlapping. A little bit too blippy sometimes. Let's increase the attack time on the grain envelope. Smooth that out a little bit. All right, I'm going to bring that position down a little bit. Bringing the grain envelope back a little bit. Let's hear how it sounds with a little bit more range on the chord pitch modulation. Just that tiny change is like another section of my track. I love it. I'm keeping this really, really simple. I don't think I want to layer too much. Let's hear how this sounds with some more effects. As if it isn't, it already sounds like it's got delays, that it's those individual synced grains, but I have another more dubby, typical kind of echoey feedback delay going on. Maybe a bit much. I just changed the tone so it's repeating less of the low frequencies. It's cleaning it up a little bit. Might be a little bit much on the limiting. Let's hear how it sounds also with the reverb. And I was kind of going back and forth, thinking the delay was a little bit too much. But just a simple dark reverb also kind of works well. It's a little cleaner. Maybe I'll just bring the mix back on the delay a little bit. I have some brighter hi-hats to bring the energy level up from here. What kind of music is this? I don't know. Tell me. We know what kind of music it is. We know exactly what it is. And I love how just tiny, tiny little changes make such a huge difference in how it feels. I mean, that's just what you listen for when you make techno like this. that range up again. I feel like this could be the whole track. All right. I also added a flanger. I'm on the fence about this one. I really like the way they animate the effects and the modulation in Phase Plant. It looks really cool. Every now and then I look at a parameter, I'm like, what's scroll? They do a pretty good job of, they have a little tooltip, like a little description in the on the bottom left every time. So the scroll enables the phase offset and motion functions of the effect. And I'm not sure what that does, but it sounds cool. All right, I need another hi-hat. I want just a upbeat. There it is. It's just the bread and butter. 909 hi-hat. Why not? No need to go any deeper than that. I'll put some effects on it though. I like to play around with velocities a little bit so they're not exactly the same. I don't know, it sort of bounces. I really do like using multiple layers of hi-hats and high-frequency percussion. Even if it's real, like, quiet in the background, like the way it is now, right? We've got this louder 909 hi-hat, and then in the background, just this, almost like a shaker. Automating that range. In Phase Plant, there's so many parameters, but pretty much most of them don't have automation lanes already. So you just choose. Like if I want to automate the range with Ableton, I would right click on that, or I think, what is it? Yeah, it's right click. And then assign to automation slot. Let's just do, I don't know, slot 1. And then that should be, now that that's assigned, I should be able to, yeah, there it is. I put it into configure here, and then just selected that parameter, and now I have. Very sensitive. Woo! What else do I need? What else? No, I'm serious. What else do I need? I could have just assigned that to a macro in Phase Plant and then scaled it if I didn't want it to go all the way up. Like I'm not ever going to go like that high. Or maybe I will, I don't know. We'll just leave it. All right. What should we do to this hi-hat to make it more interesting? What kind of effect? Let's do. Well, I'm using a flanger. And I'm using delays. I could use more of that. But any delay with an LFO, yeah, let's do that. Let's do overkill for this hi-hat. All right, so I'm going to take it out of sync. And make it into a flanger. All right, changing the offsets. It's just a little bit, left and right are just a little bit offset. A very slow rate on the LFO. Let's do a, oh, that's a good idea. Let's do a 90-degree or 180 pitch. You're going to hear like a rising effect. You're going to hear that comb filtering from the delay. Right? Start rising up. Let's see if that works. That's trippy. I told you it was going to be mellow and kind of deep today. I kind of want to hear even more delay on that. Would that be a mistake? I'm going to compress it. Why? I don't know. Peak compression. Maybe not. I'm not going to do the makeup. Let's see. Kind of, it's somehow like softening it up a little bit. And you know, the pitch of that sort of, it's like a lower frequency, almost sounds buzzy, like a sawtooth wave in a way. Whoop. That was accidentally awesome. Basically, this is Car Plus Strong physical modeling going on with this hi-hat. Play with the filter in the feedback. Now the feedback's totally taken over. This is not granular in the phase plan anymore, obviously. Let's go back and play with phase plant. Man, I'm getting so lost in this. Let's ease up on that feedback. Bring some low frequencies in again. We get less of that howling in the mids. Here's our break. Maybe I just need a, I mean, would it be cheating just to put reverb on everything? I feel like that's cheating. I need something cooler than that. Not loving that. It's okay. Let's see what this is doing. Maybe it's just too much feedback. It's like, I got to figure, okay, we're going to stop there. I'm starting to get caught up in those effects.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget, we put out new content every week, so don't forget to check back often. And if you'd like to learn more about music production and take a course with us, or just join our community, come check us out at 343labs.com. See you next time.